Yeah. So you have played a good amount of football.
Yes, sir, yes.
Do you think football is getting as popular as cricket? Is it slowly catching up with the youth?
So I think since the beginning of Indian Super League in 2013, it was a game changer because the viewership has increased. Very good players are coming, but still football it is not in the sports consciousness like the cricket is. Also, we have not won any major World Cup like cricket, so still the parents are uh, hesitant in sending their kids to football. But sir, the improvement is there since the ISL.
So how can we change the situation? So what kind of policies are required?
So, if we see the Western countries where like Brazil, etc., they are also BRICS countries and similar economy like India. But it's since the very beginning there is academies are there better since very grassroots levels. Football schools are there. There are also other things like better funding to football sports like sports. The cricket gets better funding in India than football. So I think some of these are necessary steps to take football.
Okay. So why is not so popular? Like apart from the popularity of cricket, are
Yes.
there any other reasons why games like football are not popular at grassroots level?
Because parents are hesitant to send their kids to football academies, etc. But in cricket, there is a consciousness that a cricket uh, player becomes a superstar. But football player is not like that. That's why, sir, kids not go to these academies.
Okay. Um, okay. So but it applies to other sports also, right?
Yes,
Even very few parents send their children to cricket also,
yes, sir.
right? To academies or even for that matter other sports also. Are there any other reasons? Like why it is not like gully kind of game in India?
But if we see football is only from three states, two or three states, Goa and Northeast. In other states, uh, people do not know much about this sports, but cricket is very famous. That's why I think this can be another reason.
Okay. So what about this technology? How are they changing these games? Like either it is football or cricket. Nowadays they are aggressively adopting variety of technologies to make them more entertaining, more appealing.
Yes, sir.
And so is it also changing the nature of the game? Like how is it changing?
Sir, first is in sports, in football, VAR was introduced, and VAR has given right on Euro leagues also very uh, controversial tools that could change the decision they have been given. In earlier times, there were fan disputes that it was goal, but not like that. But now there is more transparency in football. Also, goal line technology also improves in football. Agreed, transparency. But in cricket, there are also technology.
Okay, like how are they changing the game? Like the game, how the people view the game, how the people play the game.
Uh, so there are first of all less disputes in football because goals are readily given. Uh,
Yeah. So can you name the technologies that are adopted in
in
the game
football,
of football? Yes.
the first is VAR. It is also known as fourth official video assistant referee. Then second is goal line technology. These are the most popular proven technologies that are adopted.
Now, how does it work? Goal line technology. You are a computer science graduate. So can you
Uh,
explain how does it work?
yes, sir, on the football, there are some sensors and some magnetic strips that are present when the ball passes the line. Then it gives some signal to the machine that it has crossed the technology, the line. That's how this one works. In VAR, there is another referee that is recording the whole match, and just like in cricket, it reviews to the fourth umpire, the fourth official, and then he reviews the recording.
Okay. Is it possible to replace referees completely by robots in future? Because cameras can capture everything from every possible angle.
Yes,
Do
sir.
you think do you think such kind of possibility can take place?
Sir, if we take some examples from, for example, the VAR technology. When we are seeing that there are a lot of mistakes even after that, because a lot of things depends on how the referee interprets the final decision. For example, just yesterday, there was a foul by Raheem Sterling, but it was a fake dive. But in the end, referee also supported the dive. So, I mean, it is very difficult to view from the different angles, and it depends a lot of the interpretation. And this is the biggest criticism of this VR technology, sir. But the goal line technology is working very well.
So you are saying the referees are required
Yes, sir.
physically
Yes,
and they,
yes, yes, sir.
okay. Okay. So what can civil services learn from the game of football?
Sir, sir, I can tell from what I have learned and how it is relevant to civil services. For example, sir, one of the best things is discipline. For example, when I used to play football, I used to wake up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. So following the timetable is very important. Second is decision making. In football, we have to pass without looking and decide whether to shoot or pass. This decision making is also important for civil services. Uh, Sir, football. Sir, one more. Sir, I cannot recall more.
Okay. With respect to governance of football game in India, what do you think scope for improvement? Like, how can we make it better?
Sir, there is a body, I cannot recall the name, in Indian, it is in the Ministry of Youth. Sir, its governance has been criticized because there are less footballers in that team and more bureaucrats and more government officials. So if we include more sports star, especially football superstar like Baichung Bhutia, etc., then it can contextualize what sports football requires in India. So this can be an improvement if this is the sports stars are included.
No, why do you think politicians are not willing to put, say, Baichung Bhutia as the boss of that football federation?
Because one reason is that they want to, because ultimately they have to fund, so they want to maintain control over the finances. And football is also, if we see positively, they ultimately, for example, like BICC, BCCI, how it represents India, and it is a matter of nationalism and national pride. So they might also see that football, if they represent another country, then it is important to put leaders and politicians in that. This can be a reason.
Okay. So what about in other countries? For example, in say, let's say France, Germany, England, how is football governed?
Sir, I don't have an idea about it.
You haven't read about it.
No, sir.
Okay. But still, you didn't completely answer. Like, okay, politicians can make money in other areas also. Like, why sports? Again, football and other sports are not, as rich as say cricket. So they are there in almost every sports federations. Are there any cultural reasons?
I have no idea.
Okay. So what is manga art?
So this is basically sketching some kind of animes and cartoons. This originated initially in Japan, but I started drawing it because it is a two-dimensional art, requires very less effort. It can be 15 or 30 minutes sketch, so it is good for passing time.
Okay, like what kind of themes you draw?
Sir, basically, if we see how it originated, then Japanese traditions, etc. But I draw the cartoons, for example. There are something from Blue Dragon. There are also Naruto, etc. These cartoon-like things, two-dimensionally, are the basic themes of manga art that I draw.
Okay. So is it possible to prevent natural disasters that states like Uttarakhand are witnessing?
Sir, Uttarakhand is mostly witnessing the geological disasters like earthquake, floods, etc. For example, in recent times, there could be improvement. It could be the lives could be saved. For example, early warning system was absent in that. The response was also not as expected, but it was there. So in Uttarakhand, we can minimize the impacts, but the geology and etc. They make the disasters inevitable, and the increasing climate is also this. If we on a global level we cooperate, then also these disasters can be prevented.
Okay. Um But again, the frequency will increase, as you said, because of climate change. So what kind of policy should be there? Like, what is the present policy we have with respect to natural disasters, and in the light of climate change, how should it be reformed?
Uh, Sir, for example, in Uttarakhand, if there are disasters and because of the isolated conditions, the first response is from the communities. So we could more support initiatives like Red Plus, etc., where local communities play a strong part. Then we can also decentralize the power to Panchayati Raj institutions, etc., and this can also be seen as a way to prevent major disasters. We also need better connectivity because for example, in Chamoli, we have to the response team have to travel a lot from the road, so airways, etc. This can be used for a better response.
Okay. Will there be any relationship with tourism and natural disasters? Will it affect tourism in coming days?
How natural disasters affect tourism?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Sir, if there are in Kedarnath church, the tourism, all the lines were closed for I think 2 or 3 months. So there is more tourism, there is more threat. Then it would also project that these areas are not safe, especially for the foreign tourists. They would come less. The tourism also affect natural disasters. For example, in Ladakh and the other mountainous areas, there were a lot of plastic pollution, etc. That leads to landslides, drainage, blockage, etc. So both have a to and fro relationship with each other.
Okay. So if you are given in charge of tourism in Uttarakhand, to make it more eco-friendly, sustainable, what kind of initiatives will you initiate?
So tourism first of all requires a very not much energy like manufacturing, etc. So I could promote instead of hydropower, the solar energy, etc. So that there is a better energy supply to this initiative. I could also strengthen this the study reports of EIA, etc., so that there is first full study of all the climate that tourism can be conducted in these areas. The, the other reason also stays here that if we involve communities more, women more, then these communities are tourist guide, etc. So funding can be directly proposed like PM, the street vendors directly to these tourists.
Okay. So what is your observation? Are local people more willing to be part of such kind of initiatives? How is their response?
Sir, there are lessons from various NGO initiatives. We have seen that people are participating proactively if there is a support. Uh, there are also some government initiatives on this from Uttarakhand government, and people are more getting involved in these tourist initiatives. But we have to involve women because of the uh, migration of men outside there. So women will play a critical role in tourist initiatives.
Okay. Okay. In general, community participation is important for any developmental activity to take place. But we see that community participation is not robust in India. People are very cynical, hesitant to be part of such kind of initiatives. So, how can we motivate people to participate more in numbers?
If government directly approaches the community leaders, just like in vaccine hesitancy, people were more willing to participate. That if these initiatives, if this step can be taken, then there would be more participation from the bottom up side. We have also seen that from the Swachh Bharat lesson, if the panchayat leaders from the villages are coming to motivate people, then they also participate, and these institutions are also critical in involving people participation.
Okay. Can you think of 2, 3 more ways to motivate people? One is appealing to the leaders, and then
So we can also use social media for a positive behavioral change so that people participate more. Uh, I can think of only these.
Can I think one more way? Take your time, think.
The social audits can be
Any
simple.
incentive based any incentive based approach?
I cannot recall.
Okay. What is beatbox music?
Beatbox music is a kind of hip hop art. For example, like graffiti art on the walls. This is a kind of hip hop music in which we produce music from the mouth. I listen to it very much. Hi hat, drum, snare, etc.
Okay. So what is edge computing?
So edge computing, right?
Yes.
So edge computing is that kind of computing in which we store the data not on the cloud, but on the edge, that is on a local drive that is very near to the computer. And the major rationale for this is that the cloud-based computing is very prone to DDoS attacks, cyber attacks. There is also high latency between the computer, speed is high. This is why sir, edge computing is sometimes used.
How does it work?
Sir, instead of an internet connection that provides cloud, for example, like Microsoft Cloud or another cloud, there is a local hard drive, local storage that is very near to the computer, and this connects both of them through internet. So because of the very less distance and because it is not centralized like cloud computing or foreign servers, this is very close to the home, and that's why there is more security chances.
Okay. Can it be used in any part of the government? Any part of government process?
So if we see most of the government websites like My Government, and there was also MakeDoot, etc., where cloud-based computing, these are centralized. And if you see government servers, government websites, etc., sometimes like because are slow because the capacity is very less. So if in local institutions like villages which are isolated in tribal areas, etc., where these institutions are present, we can use edge computing so that the latency is very high and it is less prone to speed, etc.
Okay. If UPSC decides to use edge computing to host its website, how will it benefit?
Sir, UPSC has to store the servers very close to its headquarters, for example, like in Delhi. So it is first of all very secure because the hackers would not be able to attack using DDoS attacks, etc. Then the speed would be very high, as we see the UPSC website sometimes gets slow. So if they are very close to UPSC headquarters, then the speed this is latency which is very high. So in this case, UPSC would benefit from this.
Okay. So what about the cost of edge computing? Is it prohibitively high or like affordable?
Sir, I am not aware of this.
Okay. So coming to other aspects of computer science, how is it helping governance? Either in India or in other countries, because more as days pass, we are using more and more technologies to, yeah, to speed up governance or make it efficient. So are we adequately using it in India? How is it helping in India?
Sir, computing.
Yes.
Sir, if we see the government, sir, I cannot understand your question. Can you just repeat?
The question is, how is these computer science technologies, how are they
Yes, sir.
helping governance in India?
Sir, most of the governance initiatives are going online, for example, Digital India, etc. And this, first of all, makes it very responsive. Second, it also increases the participation. If you see, for example, I use My Government app, and there are various initiatives, for example, design logo for a website, etc. So these increase participatory governance. It also, sir, increases the response time of the government from the bureaucrats, etc. But the concerns are here of privacy and India's security capacity. For example, the cyber attacks were there in Mumbai power plant. So we have to strengthen the security, and we have to pass a privacy bill so that the people could be, do not worry about the data.
Okay. So, why are you interested in becoming a diplomat?
Sir, the personal reason is that I saw some of the diplomats in various forums on online, and this is what motivated me to become a diplomat because their personality, their aura. They used to explain a very small sentence, but the impact was very high. And the main part is that this builds a personality which is ultimately used for the national interest for your country. We get posted to other places, and how better we speak, how impact we make, ultimately helps our country. So this is the reason, sir, I chose the IFS as my first preference, sir.
Okay. So, can like sports like football be used as a tool of diplomacy?
Yes, sir. We have seen that mm, uh, football playing countries, they often use football as their soft power. For example, the final in 2018 World Cup, France and Croatia, both their presidents were present. So it also increases the communication between the leaders. Sometimes sports can also be used to host and invite the country. This also leads to better engagement with the leaders. So it can be used as a tool of soft power.
Okay. So, do you know any sports person who went on to become head of a state, head of a country? So, you're a sports person. You should be knowing the answer to this question.
But some of the sports person have, for example, in India, they have entered parliament, for example, Sachin Tendulkar.
That we know. Like I'm asking about head of the state.
The head of the state, I cannot recall, sir, but I do not remember.
So can you take a moment and think? It's a very easy answer.
Sir, this Imran Khan, who became Prime Minister of Pakistan.
Yeah, correct. So with respect to Pakistan, so what should be India's policy in coming years? Because of
Sir,
the Afghan situation and because of withdrawal by troops of by United States. Like what should be our policy with respect to Pakistan?
sir, what government is doing is a very right step. If you see, we have to engage Pakistan so that the Afghan situation is becoming very critical. And if from one side, if from Pakistan's side, there is if at least not better talks, but if there is a pause in the relation, then it would be a very good step. And this is what government is doing. But in the long term, for example, the drone attacks have started. So India should not only focus on the talks, but also show a very, for example, like they show in Doklam, for a very assertive stand that if you do this, then we can also take another step, like India has taken in FATF, etc. So there should be some talks, but also assertive stand.
Should we actively engage with Tibetan exiles, Dalai Lama and other leaders?
Sir, we have, for example, China is not, stepping from LAC, etc. And its leadership is also showing very assertive stand, arrogant, assertive, and very, uh, you know, from the military side, it has said that we would attack, etc. So if we engage China and we talk, but push little on the Tibet side, on Hong Kong, etc., from Taiwan side, then sir, it would be a good step, but we should not push it too hard.
Okay. So why we shouldn't push too hard? Like China doesn't hesitate. Why
Yes,
should
sir.
India?
Because the reality is that China is a very strong power. It is challenging United States, and it is going to be the second superpower in the world. So the asymmetry between India and China uh, calls India to be assertive, but also we should talk because we have no choice. And militarily and economically also, China is very strong. So we have to talk to them.
Okay. See, so what are the other ways to, mm, deter like countries like China apart from becoming economic powers and militarily superior? Are there other ways how we can, kind of teach a lesson to China
So even
without getting scared of its tactics?
even if we see militarily, we can assert our interest. For example, in many points of LAC, China is not that strong as much as India is, and in marine areas also, India is very strong as compared to China. Second, we can, for example, India has used the digital strikes. We can use economy as a tool to leverage. We can also, for example, like India is doing Quad, etc. If we make a multilateral alliance of like-minded countries, then also it would prevent China from doing what it is doing in South China Sea, LAC, etc.
Okay. So what are the weaknesses of China? If at all India has to, leverage, take advantage of.
Sir, first is human rights, as it is doing with the Uyghurs in Xinjiang. India can use these on UNHRC, etc. India can also, on multilateral institutions, pass resolutions against China. For example, in WTO, India has raised several times the, high interest rates, the dumping, etc. These are the weaknesses of China that India can also use United States to, counter China like it is doing in Quad, because these are the only two strong powers, and India can use these alliances to deter China.
Okay. So what are India's advantages vis-a-vis China?
First is in Indian Ocean region. India is very strong Indian Navy as compared to China. India is also the advantage of being a democratic country. While China is a communist country, this can be used as a tool of soft power. Then India's initiatives like in Africa, rather than Chinese BRI projects, which are which support the elite level wealth creation and top level. India is supporting the grassroots level African nations, their population, etc., earning a goodwill. So these three can be used. India has advantage in these areas.
There is one more advantage. Can I think of it? So what about the youth of India? Can they be used as advantage? The so-called demographic dividend.
Yes, sir. Sir, but China also has a very strong demographic dividend. If we skill these, for example, government has started the Atmanirbhar Bharat combined with the Skill India. If we combine both of these, provide better education, the new education policy which focus on foundation literacy, increasing the higher enrollment ratio. If we apply these principles, then not only Skill India, but also if we can support Atmanirbhar Bharat and attract the countries to invest in India.
Okay. So final question, how are you going to use knowledge of sociology as a diplomat? How is it going to be useful?
So if you see in sociology, I have learned that there are no black and white, there are gray areas. So in reality, if I become an administrator, then this is a very critical lesson not to take sides, because reality is always multi-layered. And second, we can see that sociology is being objective facts. There are statistics. So if the administrator also goes on the basis of facts, etc., then his policies would be better oriented. And sociology also stands for value neutrality, and this is very important for not discriminating against SC, ST, women, etc. So there can be no.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so how will you rate your performance?
Sir,
By your own assessment.
Sir, I cannot think, because maybe because after a very long time I am giving a mock interview, so I am unable to think when you are saying try to think. It's very difficult for me to think. In the initial stages, sir, I'm also trying not being able to communicate properly in the initial stages. This I was in my first mock with KSG. I was not able to communicate in the first three, but later it became a little bit better.
I think similar thing happened today. Like second half was good. Your second half, you kind of came into that mode and started making it comprehensive answers, bit multidimensional. like last 3-4 questions. So in the beginning, you were like hesitant, like it was like, you were not thinking, you didn't want to answer, like the answers were very superficial,
Yes, sir, I
especially
understood that.
related to sports, especially or football. Okay. See, I think so the kind of question I asked can be the kind of questions you might get, like because in DAF we see football, we see Uttarakhand, we see computer science and sociology as prominent, and of course your choice of Indian Foreign Service. So one of 2-3 of these areas will dominate. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what you need to do is that you need to, how are you preparing, you tell me, for interview?
Sir, I am first of all taking my DAF, then I am like searching for sociology, but happy to be sociology. My sports, I'm searching for sports using newspaper, Euroleague, etc. is happening, so I'm following that. So mostly on the basis of DAF. Computer science also I have took some questions, etc. So this is the only preparation.
Okay. See, so that is not the weakness, okay, because you only admitted that in the beginning you were like suffering. So
Yes,
you have to work on the weaknesses basically. Content is not the weakness. Your ability to think immediately,
yes,
especially
sir.
in the beginning. So that is the problem, right? So to address that, reading more, writing more, learning more won't help. What helps is practicing that, delivering.
Yes, sir.
So you have to take mobile phone, record your answers actually. So keep your mobile phone in front of you. So have it like 10 questions. Okay. So maybe you can have them in front of you and just go on recording them like within 40-50 seconds. So one answer 40-50 seconds, like 3-4 points. So see how deeply, how deeply you can think with 3-4 layers of dimensions.
Yes, sir.
So that if you can practice and internalize, when you give mark, you have to experiment.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So assume that as if you're practicing there. So only that will help you overcome this problem. I don't think knowledge is an issue because after clearing mains and after playing the sports, I'm sure like what it is, I think 2-3 days work है ना, बस फुटबॉल के बारे में इधर उधर पढ़ो
Yes,
थोड़ा,
sir.
ज़्यादा पढ़ने का भी नहीं है वहाँ पे. I think you need to practice. Other than that, I found because I started noticing your depth in the second part. Okay. So I think if you can perform like that uniformly from beginning to end, you can definitely score 70+% marks.
Okay.
Okay. So I think that is what is required. Practice is required. So
Yes,
coming to that's what, like, one is try to enumerate. So if I ask about community participation, how can we boost? You can say that, so I can think of 3 ways. Number one, you said like uh, talking to community leaders. Okay. Or, panchayat leaders, as we did with vaccination and Swachh Bharat. Secondly, using tools of technology like social media and other platforms for wider reach, creating a campaign, interesting campaigns to nudge people or something. Okay, so it's using role models, whatever it is. The third one could be something related to kind of outreach programs by the government,
we
right?
were talking
So
about the
they
influence.
don't, community participation, like how can we motivate? So they don't come forward because there is trust deficit between government and people, right? So you have to build that. You have to bridge that trust deficit. So for that, you need to send government machinery to local, like more decentralization, more powers to them. So then they start taking part in that. Like otherwise, it won't happen. So like my point here is that you should have number them, enumerate like number one, number two, number three, like that. So it gives better structure, and we can remember your points better if you number them. Not in all the answers, like such open-ended. How can we do this? How can we do that? Something, those kind of questions, open-ended questions. Like even the questions like tourism, natural disaster management, and I felt like there more points were required. Okay, how will you boost tourism? Again, you could have divide it into parts. So though you might have given Indian Foreign Service, you can expect questions like this. The same question I can ask as a diplomat: how will you boost tourism in Uttarakhand or in any other part of India? Okay, so it is similar. Like you have to break it into parts. break it into parts means like it can be stakeholder wise. Okay. So you said one point like involving local people. So local people are one stakeholders. Secondly, the nature itself is the stakeholder. Then the tourists are the stakeholders. Then the government machinery institutions assigned with management, they are the stakeholders. So from each perspective, you can think of different parts. Okay. And like industries, private industries, how they can be roped in. Okay. Like funds, investments. Yeah. So Chinese weaknesses, that's what, like, you're not numbering them. Like questions like that. What are the weaknesses of China? Okay. So, yeah, prioritizing also. For example, advantages of India, democracy should have been the first point. You said it as second point. Okay. So these will come only with practice, I think. Okay. So for you, knowledge is not an issue. Personality is not an issue. So I think because of health issue, you didn't practice enough. If you can do it from now onwards, I think in 10-15 days, you will start to get consistently good feedback, I think, in any mock you give. Okay.
Sir, how many mock interviews should be practiced ideally, if you see?
That's what you should start giving, like, for example, if you give 4 marks, that average feedback should be similar.
Yes.
That whatever it is, like, they should be giving similar feedback. Let's say you are good, like your content is good. Like people will still give that current affairs podo, wo podo, sub podo. But with respect to focus on quality of answer, delivery, like depth, multi-dimension in open-ended questions. So there, if you get consistently good feedback, you can stop. And 10-12 days before interview, real interview, don't give any marks.
Okay, sir. Sir, you were talking about the advantage of India with respect to China, and you were saying there is a very easy one, which I could not recall. So what was that, sir?
No, I just mentioned, like, that is a strategy to put you into pressure.
Okay.
Okay. There may not be a point, but we'll tell you that, our point, can you think about it? So I'm forcing you to think. Then I just from my side, I gave like demographic dividend, right? It can be a point, it may not be a point, but the way you dealt with the point, saying that you respectfully accepted, and then said that even China has the demographic dividend, but you said like how we can make it actually our advantage, right? So that's what always, again, like democracy and its institutions. Okay, so that you would have combined it. Other than that, I think geographical advantage you could have talked about the access to Indian Ocean.
So there was one more point when you were mentioning that I was putting you in pressure that there might be a point or not. In these situations, I have also seen in 2 mocks earlier that I was becoming very in pressure. I could not think, etc. So I was simply saying, sir, I do not know, I cannot think, etc. So what should I do in this?
No, like be very comfortable. Okay, if you think you will get the point actually. So these questions are not, doesn't require you to recall something like from a textbook or from a source. What they require is thinking in that moment, applying some common sense, some logic in that moment. So if you have to be relaxed and like close eyes for 2-3 seconds and try to think. So think, like imagine, you have to just imagine, like India, what are the advantage? Sector wise, like geographically, is there any advantage? Okay. Economically, there is advantage. Socially, is there any advantage? Culturally, is there an advantage? Right. So there you will easily get like 5 different advantages.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So just you have to stay relaxed. I mean, you understand that they are trying to two things. One, they can be putting you under pressure, or they have some point in their mind, but you are not telling it. That is also a possibility. Okay. Okay. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.